11.
It's in your place, Bojo.
Good evening and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Hartford Plan Commission. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And we look through for acceptance of the minutes of August 14th, 2023.
Move to approve.
So moved by Dave, second by Brian. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, next is appearances. We do offer appearances, 3 glorious minutes to whomever would like to speak to the Plan Commission. We don't have an open forum for any of the topics, so if you want to speak to something, now would be the time to speak. Just state your name, company, address if applicable, if it's not in Hartford, and that's it.
So just for clarification, Mr. Mayor, if I wanted to comment on an agenda item,
Yes, you may do that now.
I may do that now. Okay. Good evening, good afternoon. I'm Tom Hosted, Executive Director at the Hartford Area Development Corporation. And
Is your mic on?
Slide it
Yep,
up.
up, no, that's not it.
It's up. Just tap on it. They love when you do that.
It's
on in there.
It's on.
Okay.
it
Okay.
is. Okay, I'll lean into it. Sorry, sorry about that. So I wanted to comment on the agenda item where there is a request for an adjustment to the timing in the payment of park and rec fees. This is coming from a small local builder who is looking at doing a project, small in nature, in the Sky Park subdivision. As you may know, there is a serious shortage of housing in Hartford, and we at the HADC have been collaborating with city staff and city elected officials to address that need. And so when we have an opportunity to, this is a project of 7 houses, when we have an opportunity to even add 7 houses to inventory, it's significant. So the builder is suggesting that the park and rec fees, which are categorized as impact fees, there is no impact until the home is occupied by the buyer of that home. So no one's putting anything in the sewer system, and people are not using the parks department. So this I view as kind of a cash flow management issue for the builder. Instead of paying these fees at the time they take out the building permit, and then maybe 4 to 6 months later when the house is sold, and then the impact is realized, they're out that cash, and that cash right now could be used to pay for raw materials or labor in the building process. So I hope you'll give strong consideration to this request. This isn't a request to change an existing policy, just granting an adjustment in the timing in this one particular instance. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the members of the Plan Commission? Anyone else? Last call. Hearing none, we'll go to item number 4, discussion and consideration of a residential complex identification sign, Hartford Conservancy Condominiums, 1367 South Wilson Avenue. And I believe, Jacob, you're handling that, correct?
Correct. The Hartford Conservancy Condominium Owners Association, Dan Weitzer, the registered agent, has submitted an application for residential complex identification signage for the Hartford Conservancy condominiums at 1367 South Wilson Avenue. They're asking to install a dual post ground sign. The image is up on the wall here, and I believe down in front here. It's going to be a little under 6 feet tall. The sign itself will be 19.175 square feet in size. Looking at also the owner association has not requested a proposed lighting plan for this sign, so there are no lights associated with this sign. So in reality, under section 13.0604 paren B, any type of permanent subdivision or residential complex identification sign should go in front of the Plan Commission. As you can see in the actual dialogue of the of the language of our chapter. It's very minimal review. The location and the appearance of the sign is what you're approving. It's proposed to be set back approximately 12 feet from the back of the sidewalk. Here, where the arrow is, or the pointer is, that is the approximate location. It will be in a flower bed or a landscaping bed off that sidewalk for that condominium area off of Wilson Avenue, South Wilson Avenue. So again, staff has reviewed it. Looking at the guidelines of the code, it complies. It's just we need your approval, and the staff believes it should be approved by the Plan Commission at this time.
Thank you. Questions, comments by anybody from staff as regards to the sign? Ralph, go
I
ahead.
think it's a nice looking sign.
Yes, I do.
I would make a motion to approve it.
Okay, well, any other comments, questions? Okay, we have a motion to approve by Ralph, second by Joe.
I'd put a deer on it, though.
The one I almost hit
In
the
that
other
area,
day.
in that area, there's
Yeah.
always deer over there.
So
Exactly.
you want to make that change?
No, I don't want, I really like that design. I was just being sarcastic.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the signage for the residential complex, Hartford Conservancy condominiums. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Item 5, discussion and consideration of a proposed site plan in the M4 Industrial District, that's 1625 Independence Avenue. We have, Jacob, go ahead,
I'll be taking
please.
that, yep. KGBF Properties LLC, Robert Garing, registered agent and property owner, and American Vending Sales Incorporated, Maurice Nicholson, registered agent and applicant, are looking to develop 1625 Independence Avenue for light manufacturing and warehousing land uses. It's going to be a vending machine, kind of repair, distribution type of facility. They'll also be manufacturing some of the components to it, or the actual machines themselves. 1625 is currently a vacant parcel. A conditional use permit was granted by the Plan Commission body last month on August 14, 2023. There was a plan of business operation and site plan attached into your packet. We do have comments from staff. Engineering department requests a stormwater report, including total suspended solids and phosphorus removal expressed in pounds and percent removed. They did receive a stormwater report on we did receive a report on September 6th. That did contain those, so we no longer have to worry about the report or the stormwater report to the engineering department. We do have the utility reviews. Water, a manhole at the southeast corner of the lot can be eliminated. The water main should be reduced to a 6-inch water main, and the new valve needs to be installed. They need a detailed drawing for this area, and a lateral beyond the new valve is considered privately owned, and the owner is responsible for the lateral to the proposed structure as well as the future structure. Metering, they will be receiving we did forward off the email from utilities, so they did get that metering requirements for that facility. For electrical and sanitary, they need to reach out to Dan or Mike Tim for electrical, and then for Dan Dentis for sanitary. Internally, within my department, plan inspection, the landscape plan, we are requesting that they remove the 3 proposed Black Hill spruce trees. The location of them is not ideal due to the fact that they're conifers, they not allow light in, and they're right in front of windows to the entrance of the structure right here, which again is not ideal. You're putting all that windows and fenestration there. It would be blocking out the light. It's not appealing from a curb perspective. We're requesting more of a deciduous type of tree where it kind of falls in between, where the height can fall right in between these windows here and the windows up above, kind of like a crab tree or something like that, where it's not too high, but then again, it allows that light to come through on the lower end. So some sort of changing out the black spruce, which again wouldn't allow light in and would take away from the windows and look of the southern exposure of the building. It does, again, under the conditional use permit, it does comply with all the setbacks and stuff like that as we determined at the last meeting. So I didn't go into detail on this one because we had already approved their conditional use permit, which went over all the setbacks and requirements under the zoning code. And then furthermore, the front elevations of all the principal and accessory structures shall be constructed of masonry material approved by the Architectural Review Board. We no longer have an Architectural Review Board. Thank goodness we're amending our zoning code. But the front facade consists of split face, CMU, block, wainscot, exterior insulation finishing system, EIFS, and then metal paneling. The metal paneling is just up on top here. The EIFS is mostly this lighter gray area, and then you have the split face CMU block wainscot here and around the door. It would be on you guys to approve that type of materials for the exterior on the southern face or the frontage. Again, we're recommending approval of the site plan for the City of Hartford's M4 Industrial Park District at 1625 Independence Avenue for light industrial and warehousing land uses with the following conditions: compliant with the engineering department's request, which they are, compliant with the utility comments, amend the landscaping plan to remove the 3 Black Hill spruce and substitute with an adequate tree species that accentuates the southern exposure and complements the structure's fenestrations. Species should also work the proximity to the fire hydrant, and amend the landscape plan shall be, and the amended landscape plan shall be reviewed and approved by the staff. That way it doesn't have to come back to you guys for an added extra step in their development process. Compliance with the conditional use permit granted by the Plan Commission on August 14th, 2023, and then compliance with the Plan Commission's determination of appropriate exterior construction materials for the front elevations of the proposed structure.
Okay, my question is, as regards to the trees,
Yes.
I mean, conifers, I can understand, their shape and what they do as far as
Yep.
the lighting, but I also understand what a deciduous tree looks like in the wintertime, which is the stick.
Yep.
That has, which isn't attractive at all. So did you discuss this with the owner I mean, are they amenable to doing this?
I have not had an opportunity to discuss that with them. In talking internally, looking at the landscape plan, I don't think it was done by a licensed landscape architect. It was most likely done by an engineer. I don't see a stamp from a licensed architect or a landscape architect. It's my belief that while deciduous trees are leafless in the winter, it does provide openness, though, that the conifers can't for the windows along that southern face.
If this were commercial, I would understand it just being a little more important. It seems pretty picky for an industrial, is where I'm coming from. I just thought it, and that's why I wanted to know if you spoke with the owner, if he said, oh, yeah, not a problem, or if it's like, well, this seems a little strange. So, would be interested in that feedback. Not that I don't want to pass this moving forward, but is that something that we can address at the next meeting when we're picking what materials he can use?
Well, this is the meeting that we'd be picking all the appropriate materials. This is the final site plan review for this, and then it would go on to construction or the permitting process. The reason why kind of being selective here is because this is the entranceway to Independence, the M4 district off of County Trunk Highway N. So this area is kind of the entrance corridor to that M4 industrial park. So we would like it to have a nice exterior look to it.
I certainly agree with and understand that, only because I see him in the audience, Kevin Gehring. If you want to, if you have any comments as regards to moving trees or anything, or if you just want to wave that off, Kevin, just let me know. Because this is, other than reading, what was in our packet, this is the first time I've really heard the explanation of it, and wanted to know if that's something that it doesn't give you heartburn. I mean, as far as a.
We'll do whatever, we can work with city staff.
Okay, well, there you go. No worries then.
We'll make it.
Okay, thank you. His comment was, we'll make that work, so appreciate that. Super. Any comments, questions by staff? Or, excuse me, by the Plan Commission? If not, would look for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion for Dave, second by Joe. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next we have discussion and consideration of an amended site plan review, Hartford Union High School tennis court shed 420 West Monroe, and 805 Cedar Street. Jacob Moss, our city planner, you taking this one too, then, Jake?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
420 West Monroe Street, 805 Cedar Street is zoned I-1, which is institutional zoning district. The City of Hartford Plan Commission approved the original tennis court site plan on July 11th, 2022. The minutes are included in your packet. And on-
Jason, can I ask, because you speak so fast, can you pull the mic just a little closer, so I appreciate
All right.
that. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
No worries.
And I'll slow down. On September 19th, 2022, the City of Hartford's Plan Commission approved an amended site plan that addressed the configuration of the pavilion at the tennis court. Again, those minutes are attached from the September 19th meeting. On July 20th, 2023, the City of Hartford's Planning and Inspection was notified the Hartford Unified School District or High School that it was in violation of the zoning code for the installation of an intermodal transportation container or a shipping container with an electrical connection. The shipping container was also located within the 25 feet street side yard setback of West Monroe Street. The installation of the shipping container was not identified on the July 11th or the September 19th, 2023 Plan Commission review of site plans. Furthermore, intermodal transportation containers are a transportation land use, not permitted as a permanent structure in I-1 institutional zoning districts. Section 13.0324 paren H of the municipal code grants the Plan Commission the power to review and approve site plans based on the following criteria: adjacent uses, general layout, building plans. The property is surrounded by single-family properties to the north and west, Hartford Union High School to the south, and Hartford Union High School ball fields to the east. The new tennis complex includes 8 tennis courts, portable bleachers, a pavilion, and now a proposed storage shed. Plans for the shed show that it would be set back 25 feet from the West Monroe Avenue, meeting the 25-foot street side yard setback requirement. The shed is proposed to be 160 square feet with an exterior construction material of 3/8 smart side material. Again, under I-1 regulations, permitted accessory uses, under section 13.0324 paren B paren 3, service buildings and facilities normally accessory to the permitted use. So this is, it's used as storage for the tennis courts. So again, it is a facility accessory to the courts itself and the pavilion. Setback in yards, there shall be a minimum of building setback from the right-of-way of all streets, roads, or highway equal to the average setback on each side of the use parcel or district. And then to give a little context and definitions, how a street yard is defined under section 13.1602, street setback or street yard, a yard extending across the full width of a lot, the depth of which shall be the minimum horizontal distance between the existing or proposed street or highway line and a line parallel to thereto through the nearest point of the principal structure. Corner lots shall have such yard on each abutting street. And then frontage, which is what we're using for the definition of the front yard in our code, is 13.1602. The smallest dimension of a lot abutting a public street measures along the street right-of-way line. For lots abutting a lake or stream, the smallest dimension measured along the shoreline. So the staff is recommending approval of the site plan for the Hartford Union High School tennis court shed at 420 West Monroe Street, 805 Cedar Street, with the following conditions. Any new signage must go through the sign permit application process. All signs approved on the April 28th, 2023 sign permit would be exempt from this condition, and provide electrical site details for the shed and apply for an electrical permit, as those electrical outlets or the electric that was run to that shed was not part of the original site plans.
Okay, thank you. Questions for staff on this? So as I heard, you're recommending approval then, correct?
Approval of the shed, yes.
Okay, correct. Okay. Anyone have questions, comments, concerns? If not, would look for a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Joe, second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Boy, you guys are quiet today. I can barely hear you. Okay, item number 7, review of a conceptual plat, home path development pins number 049-100D, 100D, and 06822B. 22B.
100D, 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 100 Okay, HomePath Financial LP, Jeff Kleiner, registered agent, is proposing to develop 2 vacant parcels currently located within the town of Hartford. The 2 parcels are combined 18.08 acres and would require annexation into the city of Hartford for subdivision development. The city of Hartford's comprehensive plan has the future land use for this potential development as medium-density residential, which is 3 to 5.81 acre or units per acre. Upon annexation, the rezoning for the development would allow for RS3, RS4, RS5, and RD1 zoning districts. In the packet, there's a table of the densities of the proposed constructions of the single-family lots as well as the duplex lots. In total, the single-family lots would compose 6.1 acres or 34% of the 2 lots combined. And then the duplex lots would be approximately 3.7 acres with a total of 20% of the land use. So the residential development would consist about 54% of the lot of the 18.08 acres, with the rest being either outlots for stormwater and/or streets development. HomePath in their application stated that they're looking to do a single family at RS4 and multifamily, and then as well as RS6 with a variance to allow for 0 lot line on the one side of each lot for the duplexes. I'll have a comment on that further into the staff review. Engineering department review, they did have a layout for the development. Let me pull it up for you. So engineering's proposal is here where the Autumn Ridge right-of-way gets changed here, cuts through the stormwater pond that is currently located there, and exits out to the east to the vacant land to the east that's in the town of Hartford. This is the preferred reconstruction of the streets that the engineering department has given me. How this is laid out would possibly give the ability for the developer to, by altering this stormwater pond, to actually create lots here and then switch everything over onto this side. Again, that would all be discussion with the engineering department. Protective Service had no issues identified that include police and fire. Public Works Review, they do like the connection, speaking in general terms, not specifically to the engineering department's comments, but they do like the connection with Autumn Ridge subdivision with this northern proposed subdivision. Planning and Inspection Department, utilities also had no comments at this time. Planning and Inspection Department review, again, annexation would be required as this is in the town of Hartford. Would like to see a street connection with the parcel to the north. This parcel 38 right here, instead of being developed as single family, putting this as street to the north to connect any future development to the north, and then also kind of creating a buffer between the single family as well as the duplex is to the west.
Question, if you would take that, are you going to, by just taking that lot and turning it into a street, meet the requirements of setback from the middle of that street to those side streets, or would that need some type of a variance?
We don't have the distances measured off on the proposed building layouts of these lots. Not knowing the actual width of this lot, looking at a possible 66-foot right-of-way dedication, I think this lot is wider than 66 feet.
Okay.
So I think it would allow for an extension north without impacting the right or the setbacks on the lots to the west and to the east. RS4 or RS5 would be suitable for the single-family parcels, so they could remain with that proposed zoning district. Now getting to the RS6. RS6 is a relic zoning district intended to provide for single-family residential developments only on lots of recorded existed prior to the date of the adoption of the City of Hartford's zoning code. So we do not like to use RS6 because it's only for pre-existing lots that predate the zoning code. So what we're proposing is possibly looking into MXD zoning district for multifamily needs, and that would have to be discussed with the developer. Multifamily densities would have to remain between 3 to 5.81 dwelling units per acre. In your packet was the MXD zoning district language, and as you could see in that language, it allows for the proper, for the requested lot sizes for these duplex or condo attached units, and also allows it as a permitted by right type of land use. Whereas RS6, you would have to be looking for a variance. This one would just allow that. MXD, from my understanding, is a zoning district that postdates the adoption of the comprehensive plan, but it would allow for the type of density that they're looking for with these attached duplex condo type of developments. And then after the annexation, the next step would then also be the preliminary plat of this subdivision. So again, this is a conceptual plat review. We're not looking for, there's no actionable item on this one. It's mostly comment. Nothing's legally binding at this point. We're just looking for comments from the Plan Commission on their thoughts of this proposed condo plat, or not condo plat, of this proposed subdivision.
Is there any type of system where we're looking at taking these homes and making sure that they are owner occupied, so we don't have some California company swooping in and buying what might be considered good values, and suddenly we have a ton of rental homes?
The city cannot make that we can't get involved in the private sector on ownership. The city can't get involved in that on our end. I believe it's the intent of the developer to have these as owner occupied.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we
Yeah.
have to demand it. I'm just curious if they're looking to make it, more homeowner friendly rather than, again, boy, the economy gets a little tough. They want to bail or go on to the next thing, and they just dump it into some California company. I'm not forcing anything and making my judgment on this by asking the question.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because, what looks to be homeowner occupied type of things, which is what we're trying to do, may end up turning into something else. And I just wanted to know the ideas as regards to who's building it and what they've done in the past, and if they are mostly building homeowner occupied residences.
I have dealt with Stepping Stone in Menominee Falls, and they are doing homeowner occupied or owner occupied construction out there. I believe they are also doing some multifamily out there, if I recall correctly, in a rather large subdivision in the southwestern portion of Menominee Falls. They're also proposing to develop out in Jackson. So they are a known commodity in southeastern Wisconsin.
Oh, that's good. And hey, I mean, this goes well. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of the town of Hartford that we'd love to turn into the city of Hartford. I'm sure that'll make the newspaper. So, kidding, guys, kidding. So, with that, anybody else wishing to make a review for the newspaper?
And we do have Ken Frank from Stepping Stone here. We do have the developer here too, if you have any questions as well. Ken Frank from Stepping Stones Home Path.
Please go ahead. Just pull the microphone toward you. You list your name, your company, and any comment you want to make regarding all of my comments about really hoping that this ends up as owner occupied.
Yeah, well, that's obviously the intent that we are looking for. However, you did make the comment, the market does change. So it's, we do want to do owner occupied primarily. First, I want to thank staff for getting us in here for the concept. It was important to us to get in front of you guys for comments on this thing before we get too far into it. I don't really have a lot to comment on the project. I'll just take questions because Jacob did a good job of outlining everything. I did want to kind of touch base on Stepping Stones Homes. Home Path Financial is the parent company of that. They've been in business 20 years. We do an average about 140 houses a year. probably average 20% multifamily, 80% singles. Last year, we were the second largest builder in Wisconsin. This year, I think just came out last week, we're the fourth. I believe that's because they didn't count the multifamily products.
Well, if you start building more in Hartford, maybe we can put you at number one.
That's right. We are currently active in 23 communities throughout Wisconsin, and we are in Western Hills right now. So we are building in Hartford currently. We have 13 lots left, and we want to continue to build in Hartford. So other than that, the only thing that I need to clarify with Jacob and staff would be our preference on the multifamily product would be a fee simple lot. And I'm not sure I'm reading the MXD correctly or not, but I think it provides for fee simple lot rather than condominium. So that is important to us because, you know, the duplex houses are probably going to be entry level, and it's hard to finance condos at an entry level product. So that's important to us. But everything else, I think Jacob summarized it well. I mean, we can work through the engineering stuff. I don't think there's major concern there, although we'd have to reconfigure the Autumn Ridge pond a little bit somehow. So we might need the village's help with that. We do have our engineer here tonight. If there's engineering questions, drainage, connection, any,
We're not necessarily in a position to take the question
Okay.
because this isn't really a hearing.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you an opportunity
Okay.
to address.
I'm here for questions.
And we're not here to ask them right now, so.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll be looking forward to comments.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that is our review. Any other comments as regards to this, or there's no motion or anything necessary as this is a review? Hearing none, we'll go to item number 8, discussion and consideration of deferring park fees for Skyway Park subdivision lots 67 through 71. I believe this will be taken by our city administrator, Steve Volker.
As Tom referred to earlier in his comments, again, what we are bringing forward is the petition to defer park fees for Skyway Park subdivision lots 67 through 73. When Tom was referring to that, he talked about park and rec fees. Rec, of course, not being recreation, but actually being the sewer hookup fees. Dave probably wouldn't know anything about that. But anyways, the point is that the rec fees do not get approved or deferred. The deferral would not get approved by this committee. It will go before the city council tomorrow night. Anyways, the properties being considered, again, are lots 67 through 73 of Skyway Park subdivision. There's owned by Skyway Park LLC and zoned RS5, single-family residential. These are a self-contained plot of land bordered by Sky Park Drive and Wright Court. We've been working, obviously, with spurring housing development in a specified price range for the past 3 years. The Hartford Area Development Corporation has identified local contractors willing to build within that set parameter in a specified, fully developed subdivision. The HADC has also worked with the owner of said lots to the subdivision to sell them for a reasonable price to make it hit the price points. To make this first of what is hoped to be a several development work, the contractor and builder the contractor is building spec homes and is asking not to pay the park or rec fees until such time that the actual homes are sold. As Tom brought up, obviously these are all fees that are based on usage, usage of parks, usage on the sewer system, which neither of these will be until such time as residents take residency. Upon approval, the council would direct the appropriate city staff to enter an agreement with the contractor for the repayment of those fees upon the sale of said properties. The recommendation of the staff is that this project fits the desire of the council to spur owner-occupied homes, which I believe I heard earlier tonight. The staff recommends approval to defer these fees until such time as these homes are sold. Any questions? Dave?
Steve, you basically answered the question for me about, but I was a little, had thoughts on, I'm all for the project, by the way. Nate and Tony are great guys. My neighbor, Tony's my neighbor. They're great builders. But, you know, when we've done deferrals in the past, and I have no issue at all with the deferral, but it was always like Rincon, for instance, or the motel, it was in the TID language that's how, when it would get paid, when the TID started making profit, then it would get paid back.
Yep.
So we understand it, there'll be some kind of an agreement that
Yeah, so what.
upon the sale, that it will.
Yeah, good
fees will
question.
get paid.
So what we'll do is we'll put an agreement together with the developer that, again, upon the sale, at the closing, we would need then to get the paid for those fees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough.
And just a educational piece for all of you. The reason that we do it when we do it, why, is because the fact is it's one of the last times we actually see a lot of the builders is upon, first of all,
Public
when they
Works
take out the
voucher.
permits, exactly. And so that's when we normally do it, and again, this is a deferral until such time as that they're sold. So just a key little educational piece for you tonight. Any other questions? If not, Mayor?
Absolutely. Joe, go ahead.
So I know I've been with kind of a ad hoc committee, working with HGAC, working with the city's staff and part of the representing the Common Council on trying to develop some of the properties. I'm excited to hear about the one going in by Autumn Hills. I think, you know, with this here, the biggest question, the biggest, you know, concern I would have doing something like this is it setting precedents? But in what we have talked about and what we discussed as a team, this seems like the right thing to do. We are looking as a team, we are looking at the different costs and how do we make it affordable and attractive for some of the developers to come in. And this is a great opportunity, I think, on a space-by-space basis. If it's something that we look at doing on a permanent basis, the city staff is going to look and possibly consider changing that down the road. But as an exception to the rule for one time, I think this is a great opportunity, a great way to close off a subdivision that's kind of sitting out there and fill a couple more other single-family homes. So I'm in favor of this.
Any other comments, questions? If not, we'll look for a motion to approve.
I'll
Joe.
approve.
Brian? You get that one, Joe and Brian? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. We stand adjourned to the call of the chair.